No kickstand. But it does have this thing. Yeah, nostalgia my ass. I would like a normal kickstand. So what I got here is a cheap bicycle with mostly chinesium parts. It looks old, but it really isn't. It's just another retro ride. Perhaps 10 years old, no more. Certain elements, like the electric lights, or what is left of them, the mudguard, the modern bottom bracket, more about that later, and the plastic chain guard give away its age. Now, I'm not a big fan of retro bicycles. I prefer the real thing. But at least they had the decency to use a steel frame and not an aluminium one. I suspect that at some point in the past it had a front rack and perhaps one of those dreadful wicker baskets. Unbelievable that those things are hip again. Anyway, I prefer a steel frame over today's rigid welded aluminium frames. They are more comfortable and aluminium just looks wrong, especially on a retro bicycle. It does, however, have aluminium rims. The spokes are stainless, but unfortunately the nipples are galvanized and are starting to rust a little. To be honest, I would rather see a steel rim with some period correct rust coloration. The rim is a regular size, although the tires are rather fat. They only just fit inside the wheel arches. Perhaps they are very comfortable, but they do have that typical cheap tire dry rot. They look usable, and more important, they still hold air. I got my doubts about the originality of this chain guard. For a retro bicycle like this, I would go with a cloth guard, but these plastic guards are probably cheaper and easier to mount. To my surprise, the coat protectors are still undamaged on both sides. They are some of the items that get destroyed first on a school bicycle like this. Then goes the chain guard, the lights, and next perhaps the stand. But this cheap bicycle is still in a pretty good condition. I got the feeling that it has been standing still outside for a long time, and that would explain all of the algae. It is slowly returning back to nature, and I think the green color looks better than this gold lettering with these stupid tribal signs. For running gear, it has a simple front hub, probably something from Suntour, and the rear hub is a single speed with a coaster brake, just what I like. It has a square axle, so there are no old school cotter pins on this retro bicycle. Unfortunately, there's something wrong with this. After dragging home this thing and inflating the tires, I mounted the bicycle for a test ride, but things didn't go as expected. And of course, this is an reenactment. Something's wrong. Looks like the bottom bracket is loose on the chain guard side. Well, on the plus side, this stand is perfect for dry cycling. So I guess I need to open this thing up. These threads are rather rusty, so I will put on some WD-40. Let everything soak for a while, and later I'll try and remove this crank and bottom bracket. So everything has been soaking for a few hours, and now let's try and remove these cranks. And would you believe it that this cap was still on here? This bolt needs a 14mm socket, just like I needed to change the saddle height, because this frame is a bit high for me. I think someone was in here before, and it wasn't me. Okay, I'll get my crank puller. And of course I forgot to bring a spanner. Number 16, if I remember correctly. It's already free. Next I need to remove the chain guard. I don't believe this chain guard has a removable section at the rear. That's interesting. I never saw this model before. I think the whole bottom half unclips at the rear. Got it. Chain could use some tensioning. Some tensioning. That's probably not on the front gear. Well, I think it still is. There's the crank. And here's that part of the bottom bracket that came loose somehow. And this is part of the chain guard. It is still stuck at the rear. You know what? I can probably leave this in place. You know, I was expecting more rust. There is some, but not a lot for a bicycle that was standing outside for a long time. Well, let's turn the bicycle around and take off the other crank. Same procedure for the other side, just a different camera angle. Yeah, there it is. This might be awkward, seeing that the axle isn't fixed anymore. God damn it. Sorry. I should switch off the camera. I'm gonna hit this thing with a hammer. See if I can shock it free. Oops. Well, let's try this again. Because what else can I do? I could put the whole crank arm complete with bicycle in the vise, but that would be difficult because there's probably not enough room for this bicycle. The front wheel turned into the camera. Fuck. Sorry about it. Hair tools. Well, I do not have an impact socket long enough, so this regular socket will have to do. Right. That was the wrong direction. Let's try this again. Shut up. Looks like I need a new crank puller. I think the only option left here is to use the angle grinder. Okay, it's angle grinder time. And I apologize for the noise. It's either this or that angry chicken on the other side of the barn doors. That took a while. Next I need to try and remove this. Hopefully I didn't cause too much damage with the angle grinder. But I think we're okay. Yeah, I know you got an egg. Stop telling your sisters. Always the same. Especially around this time of year. These are all of the bits that came out of the bottom bracket. I guess this one doesn't count, but there is a bit of axle still left in here. This one sat at the chain guard side, and there were no longer any balls in here. And this one still has all 9 balls. Now, and this here is what I'm going to use to fix the bicycle. And to be honest, I'm not sure if it is going to fit, although I am sure that it will be a struggle to get these plastic parts back into the bottom bracket. Alright, I'm going to try and test fit this, and then I will bring back the camera. After cleaning the inside of the bottom bracket with a rag and some WD-40, I managed to screw in the new bottom bracket from the chain guard side, and that's the left hand thread. And now I'm hoping that the internal parts of the new cartridge will help guide in this this plastic cover. Although the threads on here might be a little bit damaged. It's kind of hard to see. Those kids are still playing with that stupid quad. How annoying. Yeah, this might take a while. It's not engaging the thread. To be honest, I'm still not completely sure, but I'm going to go for it and looks like the tripod is going to be in my way. No, it's not in the way. Tool came undone. I think it feels good. Let's finish this. Yep, it's going in. And again, the tool came undone. Installed. Great. This cheap steel crankset came from the same bicycle as that bottom bracket. Hopefully it will also fit on this frame. Looks like this side is fitting without any problems. Let's tighten things up and then I'm going to flip the bicycle. Yeah, stupid chicken. You gotta wait a little bit longer till I'm feeding you. Alright, now the other side. And I'm a bit worried that this gear might be in contact with the frame. Shut the fuck up. So I loosened up the chain tensioners and now I can take off the chain guard, because I could not do this on camera. And as you can see, it is not following the frame. So that's a success, and it looks like I will be taking a test ride when I got this thing back together. That's probably tight enough. And of course it came undone at the rear sprocket. Look at that. Wonderful. So the bicycle is upside down because I'm having a really hard time to work with these chain tensioners. Either the stand here got bent inwards and well, it doesn't look that way, or it just needs an extra washer to create some space between the chain tensioners and the stand. So that's what I'm going to do next. I will leave this thing out because there is no elasticity left. So I got both sides loose, and now I need to bend away this rack, and it's harder than I thought it would be. Camera battery is empty again. Well, I'm not going to film this part. A washer between the frame and the fender mounting bracket, and another one for the other side. And now there should be a little bit more space to work with this chain tensioner. here's the bracket for the chain guard. It fell out. I'll put it back later. This bracket here that mounts the chain guard is also in the way of operating the chain tensioners. So everything is back together, including some extra washers. And now I was finally able to tighten the chain. Coaster brake works. I think this is tight enough. Next I will put some lube on the chain, and then I will reinstall the chain guard. There's one really nasty dry spot on the old chain, although I do not think it's that old. Now that the chain is properly lubed, the struggle for reinstalling the chain guard can begin. And I think I will flip the bicycle for that. So it was probably a good thing the camera was off, otherwise you could hear a whole lot of cursing. And if you know something about bicycles and you've been paying attention, you might have noticed that I forgot this part that goes behind the crank arm, or behind the bottom bracket, and is for mounting the chain guard. I'm having a hard time getting this cup, this plastic piece of crap, back into the frame. I think I'll try loosening up the other end, maybe that will help. As you can see, the bottom bracket is back together, this time including the bracket for the chain guard. And I didn't damage anything, I just lost some time. Now let's install the chain guard. Yeah, it's going to be a struggle. I'll switch out the camera. I just undid this quick link and I'm taking off the chain. Maybe that will make things easier. It's still a tight fit. Well, let's try that again, but this time with the chain already inside the chain guard. I don't know if it will be easier this way. It probably will be a struggle no matter which method you choose. Okay, now I need to get this bracket between the plastic parts. Oh, that was easy. Let's reinstall the quick link, or whatever this link is called. I don't know. Maybe the chain shrunk. As you can see, I managed to install it. And the chain is terribly rubbing against the chain guard. So that will need some tweaking. I managed to line up this bracket with the hole. So now it's time to put in some screws. And I will do the same at the front. It's still rubbing terribly. I have also installed the lower part, although it is not clicking in place for some reason. And it is still... That's new. Well, it is still rubbing terribly against the inside of the chain guard. But I can no longer sit on my knees. So I'm going to stop for tonight. I'll continue this another time. Good morning again. It's tea time. And as you can see, the sun is hitting the inside of the barn doors, which is kinda messed up for the recordings. It looks like the chain is rubbing the outside of the inside of the chain guard. And I've been thinking, what has been changed? Well, this crank has been changed, but I don't think it will make a difference. And it is also possible that I mounted the bracket that holds the chain guard upside down, although it did look symmetrical. So I think I need to bend this to the outside just a little bit. Maybe that's too much. Well, I will mess with this for a while and I'll bring back the camera if I got some result. And as you can hear, bending the underside of the bracket didn't make a huge difference. And for some reason I cannot get this rear part to latch. Man, these things are frustrating and time consuming. Wait a moment while I position my ass in front of the sun, causing an ass eclipse. As you can see, I disassembled everything again, including this coat protector, because it was in my way. And now I can clean it. The next thing I want to try is bending out that front chain guard bracket. Maybe that new crank arm changed the position of the gear just too much. I bent out this bracket till this indentation or lower part in the middle of the bracket lines up with the chain. Perhaps that is the reason for that indentation. I don't know. And I did the same thing at the lower end. Now I'm going to reassemble everything. Perhaps I should also bend the rear bracket a little bit. At the moment it is being pinched between the chain tensioner and the hub, and the chain tensioner is actually bent a little. I reinstalled the upper part of the chain guard and it is still rubbing a little, but I'm hoping that when I have installed the lower part of the chain guard, the problem will have gone away. Well, I reassembled everything, but still something is rubbing. And some of that sound is coming from the wheel. I think some of the spokes are hitting the chain guard. This thing is driving me crazy. I didn't know that fixing a bicycle could be so difficult. I took out this bracket and modified it a bit. I made it shorter so it no longer gets pinched between the chain tensioner and the hub. I should have installed a washer, but I didn't feel like taking out the wheel. So everything is back together and the spokes are no longer hitting the chain guard. But somehow the chain or something is still rubbing the chain guard. And this drives me crazy. I've been massaging the front of the chain guard. But it just isn't going away. Well, I will install some pedals and take it for a test drive. Maybe this is one of those problems that will magically disappear. So yesterday I put some oil on these pedals They probably have been collecting rust for many years, but they should still do the job. And now a dry test drive. Yeah, that still sucks. But I don't want to wait any longer. So I'm back from my test drive on the local dirt road. That's better, right? And 2 times this damn stand came undone while cycling. I must say, riding this bicycle was a major disappointment. Not only is the damn chain guard still rubbing, it is also terribly steering to the left while cycling on the road. And that steering wheel is, it's so close to your knees. It's terrible. The only good thing about this bicycle is the belt. Oh, and these grips are comfortable. Saddle works as well. But yeah, that was a huge waste of time. I don't think you will see this bicycle again, because nobody will have reached this point of the video. To be continued, I guess. So yesterday it was raining most of the day, so I wasn't able to take a test ride on this nostalgic piece of crap. But today I fixed the problem with the chain guard, and it's testing time. There's probably too much wind today to talk on the bicycle, so I'm taking a rest here. I did grind away a bit of plastic on the outer side because it was very close to the axle, and I bent the mounting brackets a bit, and now the chain guard isn't rubbing anymore. I also reinstalled the front wheel, and now the bike is pulling less to the left than before, although I must say it is still very twitchy. Alright, I will continue my ride. See you later.